one of the things that we talked about when it comes to self-care is I had to learn how to run for my life. And for some people, that could mean so many different things. No one was trying to kill me. There wasn't a serial killer or a white band that was involved, but it was really taking control of my health. And the way that I did that was I started running. And I ran and I ran and I ran. And in addition to, the physical changes to my body from doing the constant running, I also had some mental changes that occurred that made me feel better, just getting out and getting in the fresh air and really just being one with nature. And I learned that my whole being and my whole personality just kind of changed. And it just definitely was something that I said, okay, this is what I'm going to incorporate into my life to ensure that this is my own self-care so that I can take care of myself. And yes, you can definitely walk. One of the other things that I do is hike. And I love hiking because you're walking to nowhere. But you can definitely become one with the nature and really just, like I said, ground yourself. One of the other things that we talked about, and I was really glad that someone asked the question of how can we make the time? How can we put in that time for self-care? And so our last session, I taught you all how to put the ish in it. And for those of you who are smiling, no, I'm not cursing at you. I'm talking about being selfish. You have to be selfish with your own self-care. Nobody is going to look out for you more than you will. And I know, I believe it was Robin who mentioned the thing about our mothers. And for those of us who are mothers or sisters or caretakers, oftentimes we put everyone else before us. And oftentimes we've witnessed our own mothers doing this. And so we think that this is the way that it's supposed to be. And as a result of that, we are stressed. We do have high blood pressure. We do gain weight. We do, we may have mental challenges that happen with us. And what I always like to tell people is when you're feeling overwhelmed and people keep asking you for different requests and you feel so bad about saying no, that's one of the things that I'm going to say we as women, oftentimes we have a hard time telling people no. I always like to tell people when it comes to telling someone no, it's not going to be the end of the world if you tell someone no. They will get over it. They will figure out how to get whatever it is they need to get done. But it could be the end of your world if you don't tell people no, because you will stress yourself out. So that was essentially some of the things that we talked about over the past two sessions with self-care. Now I'd like to transition into today's session and to see how we can hold ourselves accountable. Now that I talked to you all about different techniques for self-care, and I want to really see how are we holding ourselves accountable to ensuring that we are practicing self-care. And so today I really brought in Tracy Allen. I actually met her when we did a storytelling show, and it was a mental health show. And what I really appreciated was that some of the storytellers in this particular show, they actually had different mental health ailments that they were going through. And I thought it was really great that Tracy, as a therapist, would definitely check in with some of these storytellers to make sure that they were okay and that they were practicing self-care as they went through their storytelling journey. After that, I think Tracy and I just became friends. We clicked immediately. And one of the things that I think is just great, which is awesome, is Tracy, whether she knows it or not, she makes me practice self-care every day. Every morning, Tracy sends me an affirmation or 5 through Instagram of different things that, she's seen on the internet. And what I love about it, and I don't know if she knows that she does this, is if it comes through my feed already and I've already liked it, she doesn't send me an affirmation that I've already liked. She only sends me ones that I've never liked before. So I don't know if she knows that she does that on purpose, but I just think that's great because I don't want to read it again if I've already read it, even though they're really great. So now what I'll do is I will turn it over to Tracy. Like I said, she is a therapist. She is not a traditional therapist in the least. She is not the therapist that's going to have you lay down on a couch and have you relax, relate, release. But she's really, she's there. She's going to sit on the steps with you, like she says, and eat sunflower seeds. She's going to draw pictures with you. She's going to do whatever she needs to do to help you to get into a place of self-care. So with that, I will be co-facilitating with Tracy, but I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to have her give her presentation for today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Unlike Danielle, I do not run. I am not running. My knees will not allow it. So that is not my form of self-care. So those of you who can't run, don't feel bad, because I'm not running anywhere unless it's literally for my life. So I like water, and I saw Anita mention water and Kathy mention water, and that is my thing. Getting out into nature. I found all of the places in Maryland, the ones that nobody wants to look for, and I go and I can sit there for hours, and that's my way of keeping my calm. And I make sure that at least once a week I get a chance to do that. One of the things that I heard mentioned was time, people finding the time to actually go and practice self-care without feeling guilty about it. So I kind of want to discuss that. But before we do that, since Danielle spoke with you all last year, maybe you started a practice and didn't keep up with it. Maybe you thought about a practice and never actually did it, or maybe you actually did do something. I want to go out into breakout rooms to see what you did last year, how it went, and if you kept up with it, if you didn't, and kind of get a sense of the people in your group. Did everybody do something? Did everybody do nothing? And one person to report back what your group did and where you find that you need some improvement. So the question is, since your last session with Danielle last year, what did you do to implement self-care? I would like to hear what kind of practices you guys had. So someone from room 7, tell me what's been working, what hasn't been working, if anything worked at all.
Well, those who were in my group, we were talking about as far as self-care, as far as health goes. So one person got a certification to get them moving more. Another person said they maintained what they were doing. They're eating healthy, trap yoga, lymphatic system drainage. That was very interesting. So seeing all the ways in which the different ways that were creative were interesting, and it made me think maybe I should try some of the things that they were doing to implement self-care, because I know we have our own ideas of what we think works for us, but trying something new could be a way to implement self-care too. Not being afraid could be a way to implement self-care. I'm going to try that, or I'm going to do a little bit more than I usually do. So I commend the ladies in the group for saying that they either maintained, or if they gained, they got back to where they were, and that we were really trying to figure out what works for us based on what happened last year. And to be fair, some of them are new to the group. So they were just talking about things that they've done in general. So that's what we were talking about.
Nice. Group 3?
Those that were in group 3 were Debbie Woodbury, Catherine Millard, Carla Sherry, Michelle, and Nicole Drew, and our educational speaker, Danielle.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Tracy. So I actually missed Danielle's session, but we did go through and talk about self-care. Debbie did attend, and she said that she started taking lunch breaks, and that lasted for about a month. And then she was also fitting exercise into her routine, and she had some success with doing 7-minute exercises. So you don't necessarily have to devote like a whole hour, but just even moving around for 7 minutes. And she really liked that, and that helped her feel refreshed and rejuvenated. Carla shared with us that she's been doing Tai Chi 4 to 5 mornings a week. And she'd also been eating really well with Weight Watchers and trying to stick with a plant-based diet. And also she found that not having his work compete for as much of her time so that she could do self-care was really successful for her. For Nicole, she said that she was making time to meet with girlfriends and just making sure that she connected with those that were important to her, and just having that as her self-care. And then for me, I think I had mentioned massages in the networking session, and also just manicures, actually not manicures, but pedicures, just taking that time to just kind of chill out and treat myself a little bit. And unfortunately, we did not get to, I think it was Michelle.
Nice. So I saw someone when we came right back, and she was so eager to speak. So I'm going to call on her to hear what she does for self-care. Miss Jennifer Ferguson. You were smiling and you were ready to come off mute. So I said, let me see what she has to say.
Oh, you make me chuckle. Thank you so much. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Shiros and guests. I am not going to call the names of those who were in my group, in our group. However, we did have much takeaway from when we heard Danielle the first time. For instance, instead of running, one person said walking. That's her thing, walking for as many as 10 miles. But truth be told, she fell off the wagon looking at the weight gain, which weight had been lost from all of that walking. So she decided that she has to do something and get out of that rut. Mm-hmm. So listening and taking away what we got from Danielle, for that one person, it was getting back into that routine, some type of routine for self-care, which is key. Another person said just spending time with herself. Could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes. And another person said she got the courage to say no without feeling guilty.
Good.
Yes, so we are doing some level of, there is awareness, there's a consciousness that self-care is evident and that we need it. And that's in a nutshell for group 4. Thank you. Back to you, Tracy.
Good. I won't, that was perfect. I mean, my goodness, I won't push the other groups just yet. I want to kind of just be mindful and bring awareness that there is no roadmap for self-care. Like what one person may do may not work for another person. Like Danielle says, she enjoys running. When I could run, I did not enjoy running. So, that was not the thing that I want to do. But I know for me, I can cut my phone off. For those of you with iPhones, iPhone has a background sounds feature now where you can listen to water sounds. I love that. If I'm sitting, writing, journaling, which is another thing that you can do for self-care. If I'm writing or, brainstorming about something, because my mind is always going. And for a lot of us who may be entrepreneurs, moms, grandmoms, whatever it is that you're doing, even working a 9 to 5, if you have a busy day, your mind is going. What does your wind down look like? How are you actually creating your own environment of peace? What does your Zen look like? And honestly, starting with taking a lunch break away from your work, away from your computer, away from your coworkers, that's how you start. Because most people say, I heard the question was, how do we make time? That's how you make time. You actually make time. You stop focusing on the fact that I don't have time, and you put the time in there. Even if it's 10 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, you can actually make the time. Most of us will sit at our computers all day long and, okay, well, I'll eat while I'm working. I can leave a half an hour early. I can leave an hour early if I do this working lunch. But what does that create? Just more anxiety, more stress. And cortisol is your stress hormone. So then you find yourself, most of us, we emotional, we eat. Okay, I'm just going to have a bag of chips because I'm stressed out. Or I want some fries. I'm going to stop at McDonald's or wherever on the way home. Or I want this piece of cake. I know this place or the market has this good cake. I'm going to go get some cake. Whatever your guilty pleasure is, do you find that you eat that more often when you're stressed? Carbs are my drug of choice. I can't just come off of carbs. I'm going to need an entire 12-step program. But I know that when I am stressed out, I am going to carbs. That's my thing. I love carbs. And it depends, because as women, that time of the month is sugar. I want cake, strawberry cake specifically, got to have strawberry cake. When outside of that, French fries, pasta, all of the things that taste so good, but add so much, weight onto us. So those are my things. But how can we do that in a healthy way? What can we do? And it honestly starts with your lunch break. Even when you get home, I will sit in front of my house. If I've had a long day, my favorite music is on. And sometimes I might find myself sitting in the car for a half hour. Neighbors are looking at me like I am absolutely nuts because I have been sitting in the car. Like, who is outside going to get her? Nobody. But this is my moment. So for those of you who may have family or younger children or even a husband, whomever, and you may not want to share. Somebody put popcorn is life. Sit in the car, eat your popcorn, mind your business, and enjoy that. Create that moment. That is your, put the ish in it, like Danielle said. That is your selfish moment. And do not be upset about that moment. You do not have to feel guilty for taking time out for yourself. Even if there are little ones home, you don't have to share your food. Get what you are going to get. Park around the corner if you have to. Mommy is working late. You know, I can't get home on time, but late is around the corner. Sit there, listen to your music, talk to your girlfriends, cut a video on your phone, and just take that moment for yourself. Another thing, you don't have to rush your showers or your baths. Create a Zen moment there. Most people like showers. Well, they have these shower bombs now that you can drop in the water with at the bottom of the tub where the water hits and you get this smell. I am big on aromatherapy. I love aromatherapy. That is one of the most calming things in the sense. The scents range from, you know, savory to sweet to floral, whatever the thing is that you like the most, use that. Sit in a tub, cut your favorite song on, whatever that is. You don't have to rush your experiences. Now, if you are rushing your experiences, that means your time management is poor. So sometimes it comes down to being better about your time. Time management is going to be key for you to schedule yourself some time for self-care. If you don't have the time, a lot of times it's because you aren't setting up the time. You're waking up at the last minute or you're working late unnecessarily. Oh, I just need to finish. I need to get this last little bit done. Or you just don't know how to enjoy the moment. That's my mom. My mom and my dad sit and watch their shows together. My mom will find a reason to get up and sweep something, clean something, pick something up off the floor. She cannot just sit still. Create your own moments. If you are a person who finds that your mind constantly goes, oh, I'm on somebody's toes. If you are a person who finds that you are constantly on the go, sit down. Sit down. It's no need to constantly get up and move unnecessarily. How many of you, just put the hand, raise the hand. How many of you are struggling to sit still right now? Your mind is trying to figure out how many other things you could be doing. Oh, look at the hesitation. That is so funny. I see the hands creeping up. You are figuring out how many things you could be doing because they have me on this meeting talking about self-care and I have 10,000 other things I could be doing. Like, this is important, but it's not that important. And I need to be going to go do all of these other things. Relax. Relax. You do not get that many moments to be in a moment. Take this moment. This is yours. Enjoy being in the moment. We rush around so much that we miss our moments. There's no need. Women are at the highest rate of heart attacks, high blood pressure. Part of that is because we don't know how to relax. Relax. Anxiety. That's another thing, because we don't know when to shut off. And sometimes we just don't know when to shut up. We have to learn how to relax. What are you going to do now to learn how to relax? Because Danielle was running for her life, but no, this is a real thing. What are you going to do to save your life? At this point, when you get past 40, there's no returning back to my 30s and my 20s. There's no going backwards. It's forward. There are women out here who are bodybuilders. Her name is Ernestine something, and she is well into her 80s, and she's living her life. We don't have to bodybuild, but what are we doing to save ourselves? Somebody said, why 40? Because that is the point of no return. We know it. I'm over 42. We know that. We are on our way the opposite direction. That's just being real. That's real. We are on our way. You know, you don't get, and the weight does not come off easier. It doesn't. It does not. But we have to be mindful of what we're doing to save ourselves. And so when you think, if you can't say self-care, what am I doing to save myself? Am I creating a routine to save myself? So think about it differently. I want to save my life. I want to be better. I want to do better. I know every moment I am selfish. When it comes down to my moments every day, I find a moment to do something for me. It's for me. It doesn't matter how long it is, but this is my moment and nobody gets to impede on it. 2 days a week, I work in a school. My lunch break is my lunch break. No rugrats. You do not get to come in my office when I am eating. I will see you after, because that's my time. Even when I'm working, I have a private practice. When I schedule clients from 12 to 1, there is nobody on my book. That's my time to eat. So with that being said, I have some ideas of what we can do for self-care, being mindful of time. I can't see the colors. I know somebody said they were having colors up there. I cannot see them, so I'm trying to hurry up. Some ideas for self-care. Massage. Get your massages. If you can't massage, do it yourself. Because sometimes finances are a crunch. We are not in times right now where money is just free flowing. We are in a crunch right now. Everything is more expensive, and some people are budgeting heavily, and that's okay. That's the responsible thing to do. Do it yourself. Get some oil, sweet almond oil. It spreads easy. It rubs. Add some fragrance to it that you like to add. Massage yourself. Rub your feet. Rub your hands. You know, pressure points. This area here alone is calming. Along your pinky is calming. You can do it yourself. You do not have to have somebody do it on your own. Yoga. Beginner's yoga. And if you don't want to leave out the house, get on YouTube. YouTube University is my favorite school. I learned a lot of things in that university. And I get on there and I have a whole playlist of videos that, now ask me how many times I've done them, exercise and yoga. Ask me that. I'm telling y'all my business right now. Ask me how many times I've done them, but I have them. So if I want to do them, I can. Beginner's yoga, even some videos is just stretching. So that a good stretch can give you what you need. Guided meditation. I can't sit still and think and just meditate myself. I can't. I will be thinking about everything I need to do into next week. So what I do is guided meditation. And you can find ones that are 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, however long your capacity to sit still and concentrate. There are videos for that. Sit and listen. Have somebody else tell you what to do. Meditation is not a perfect practice. If your mind wanders, that's fine. You can easily bring yourself back. Outside of that, I said sitting in your car, and again, aromatherapy. There are so many fragrances that are calming for you. So many fragrances. Lavender is a calming one. Vanilla is a calming one. Frankincense is a calming one. Sandalwood is a calming one. You want to get up in the morning, your citrus oils, grapefruit, lemon, orange, sweet orange, bergamot, anything that you can tolerate, add that into your routine. If you want to have, if you don't have a diffuser, Marshall's has them all the time, diffusers that you can drop oils in, put it on the stove. Boil some water, drop your oil in there, put it on the stove so they can diffuse through your house. Simple, easy ways of doing it. But I make hand sanitizer. This one is grapefruit. I sit here, if I'm working, I'm tired, I spray my hands, I keep right on going. You can make your own. DIY things are everywhere, but that's something I added into my practice for my clients, so just in case they wanted them. Outside of that, you can do anything yourself to create your own peaceful environment. So the excuse of time, it doesn't matter. You have to think about it. Your husbands get their time when they're watching their games or they go golfing or whatever it is that they do. Your kids get their time when they're outside and they're playing with their friends or they do their activities, whether it's after school. Everybody gets their time. But as women and as moms, we always have a reason why we can't do something. You create that on your own. So your goal, if you get nothing today, your goal now is not so much as self-care, but it's how do I save my life? If you spend your life running for everybody else, who's going to save you when you fall? Who's going to be there to catch you? We know, oh yes, I have a support system, but emotionally, who can fix that? Nobody can fix that but you. So your takeaway from me is that I have time. Convince yourself, know that you do have time. You have to want to make the time. It doesn't have to be a perfect practice. It doesn't have to be a consistent practice. I am not the most consistent person, but with that, I do not play about that. Find what works for you, enjoy what works for you, and shift your focus about it. Like, I hate the idea of exercise, but I know it's what I need to do to save my life. So if you know that you are a person who is ripping and running constantly, and that's not the healthy way to go, now it's time to shift your thinking. How do I decrease this cortisol, this stress hormone, and increase all of the feel-good hormones, that dopamine? How do I do that? What do I need to do? Create your own environments and work on pleasing yourselves. That's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. What's selfish is allowing people to determine what you do with you. That's selfish. Break that mentality, allow yourself to be at peace, and enjoy who you are. This weekend, practice it. Nobody works Monday, I don't believe. And if you do, so what? On your way to work, practice self-care. Cut on your favorite song, whatever it is that you have to do it. I thank you all for having me. I hope that you got something out of this. And maybe next year, if Danielle comes back, she can report back to me and tell me that you all have found something to do, especially around aromatherapy. So please, 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 if that's the least you can do, just start practicing with some aromatherapy practices first. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We definitely appreciate you coming in and doing this session. Like I said, I just didn't want to do another session with you all where, you know, we do a presentation, we get some ideas together, but I really wanted you to get a good self-care session in. So what we can do as a follow-up is you all may want to contact your insurance companies to figure out what your co-pays are, because you just got some good therapy, Tracy, for today. And one of the things that I also like is, if you want more, and you want to hear more of Tracy's talks, every Monday on her Instagram at 7 p.m. she goes live, and she actually takes entrepreneurs or different people in the Baltimore community, and she just sits down and chats with them about how they practice self-care. And these are some busy people that, I think one person, he was a community activist, and his family just never really saw him. And he talked about how he had to be present for his community and his family. And I think it's really, already got it typed up. Sorry, I muted myself. But it's really good to hear how some of these people who we feel, have no time in the world, how they practice self-care. So that's 7 p.m. on Mondays. Tracy, I don't know if you're doing one this Monday, but literally sometimes I jump in for 5 minutes because I can't always jump into her sessions, but I always have to support my friends. So I'm gonna get in there for at least 5 minutes. Just the little nuggets that you hear on these sessions is just amazing. And definitely I hope with the session today, and I'm getting ready to wrap up because I know we're going a little over, I hope that we've given you something to reflect on as you walk out of this meeting for today.